Welcome back to my channel. I'm Becky. If you're new here, say hi in the comments. I'd love to say hi back personally. Thank you for watching my video, and let's dive in. So I'm going to do a much more serious topic. It's been a while since I even did a chronic pain video because I feel like I'm kind of limited to what I can say that's new, and there hasn't been much update in my personal life except that I'm somewhat worsening over the years, and that my medication hasn't fluctuated that much. I'm still on the same medication, just a slightly higher dose at the moment, of the tramadol. I'm still doing the same treatments, the aromatherapy and acupuncture. I started incorporating cupping into my acupuncture too, which has been very helpful, and that's the way I'm going for the foreseeable future. Ugh, sorry. So today, as you can tell by the title, I'm talking about depression, and I will talk about how that relates to chronic pain. Especially, all of this is just my perspective, what I've experienced, my knowledge of depression in general, from a psychological perspective. I do have a degree in psychology, but this is of course by no means any kind of medical diagnosis for you. Like, if you watch it you might think, that kind of sounds like me. Always see a medical professional, whether that's your GP / family doctor or a psychologist, counsellor, etc. This is just my personal experience, opinion, and what I've learnt myself. So I'm going to start by saying that I've had depression for... I was officially diagnosed when I was 19. But I knew from when I was 16 that if I didn't have depression already, I was definitely going to have it in the future. I also suffer from anxiety, which the two tend to go hand in hand, but not always. You can definitely have one without the other, and just because you have one doesn't mean you'll get the other. I had social anxiety as a child. I still have it now, but unfortunately it went undiagnosed for many years because my parents just didn't know that you could get anxiety as a child. Definitely not depression as a child, and I just didn't talk about what I was really going through. I know I thought I was just shy, to the point of sometimes I was painfully shy, but even now, once I get warmed up to people, I come out of my shell more. But it's definitely social anxiety. There's different types, but that's another story for another time. If you're interested in hearing that, I mean, I'm going to do a video anyway, but it'd be great if you could reach out and say if you are interested in me doing a separate video about anxiety. So yeah, so I'm 32 now, and I've had depression, since I was 19 officially. Oh, sorry, my back knee's clicking. So yeah, it's about 12.5 years, because I remember it was almost 12.5 years, because it was in the December, I believe, I got diagnosed. So I want to start by saying as well, depression, there are several symptoms. I'm going to be looking down because I've got notes in front of me. In order to be said that you're suffering from clinical depression, you should have experienced a number of the following symptoms together over a period of time. They're split into two categories. One is just persistent low mood for at least 2 weeks. Plus, you should have at least 5 of the following symptoms: poor appetite or weight loss, or on the other hand, increased appetite and weight gain, a change of roughly £1 a week over several weeks, or £10 in a year when you're not dieting, either dieting to put on weight or lose weight. Sleep difficulty, sleeping too little or too much. Loss of energy, fatigability or tiredness, which, you know, if you're having problems sleeping, especially sleeping too little, of course you're going to be fatigued. Your body feels slowed down, or you feel agitated, not just feeling restless and not just feeling so down, but other people around you will notice. A loss of interest or pleasure in your usual activities, such as social contact, so you might not feel like going out as much, socializing, that sort of stuff. It could also mean, like, you know, loss of pleasure and stuff, like, you know, if there's watching TV, doing sports, whatever your hobbies are, you lose interest in it. Feelings of self-reproach, excessive or inappropriate guilt, which I believe is self-explanatory. Complaints of or evidence of diminished ability to think or concentrate, such as slowed thinking or indecisiveness. And number 8, recurrent thoughts of death or suicide or any suicidal behaviour, which kind of, some of it might seem a bit obvious, but, you know, these are the clinical steps that a medical professional will be looking for. In my experience, definitely from when I was 19 to even now, my doctor at regular intervals, I think it's usually every 6 months, will give me, so, like, you know, it's a questionnaire, and you have these questions. It's about how you felt over the last couple of weeks versus overall, and, you know, they compare where you are now to where you were before, that kind of thing. But especially looking over the last 2 weeks, because like it says, you have a persistent low mood for 2 weeks. And then, you know, they top the score up is out of something like, I think, 35. And then, you know, if you've got more than a certain percentage or a certain amount out of 35, for example, then they're like, this shows that you're severely depressed, moderately depressed, or mildly depressed. And there's different types of depression as well. There's unipolar, or one pole, just depression. There's bipolar, which is depression with periods of mania, which is intense euphoria or elation, happiness. You can become flighty, ideas will rush through your mind quickly with little apparent logical connections. And apparently there's also a tendency to pun and play with words, but there's nothing wrong with liking puns on its own, but this is, like, you know, a combination of things. But I'm not going into that type of depression because that's the one I know the least about, being that I have the first type, unipolar depression, also known as major depressive disorder. I've always been ranked as severely depressed. I think once or twice I was moderately depressed, but I've never been mildly. And there's different types. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Yeah, my depression has definitely changed of what's the cause of it, but all of it is all one underlying thing in particular. But that's not the case for everyone. Mine stems from, which you may remember from a previous video, especially I think my first one, which I'll link below, talking about chronic pain. Stems from a very bad childhood to my teenage years, early adulthood, basically my whole home life growing up until I was 19 and left home. There was a lot of bad times. Now it's also, but that's sort of like just, it's sort of like residual stuff from childhood affects me sometimes. I've had no contact with my dad for, I think, going on 8 years. I could work it out, but I haven't looked into it in a while. I don't really think about it anymore. For the last couple of years, I think. Has it been 2 years? It's been at least a year, maybe like 18 months. I've been in touch with my mum. We somewhat smooth things over, I think. We're in a good place. And yeah. Also now that I have the added bonus of having chronic pain, fibromyalgia. I was diagnosed officially 3 years ago, on the 1st of November actually, so my anniversary came around recently. And even the chronic pain side of depression is split into twofold, because one, there is the side effects of my medication, i.e. the weight gain. That's causing a significant part of my depression. I'd say like 75% to even as high, I'd even go as high as 90% of my depression really is to do with my weight gain and my struggle / inability to lose said weight. And then the rest of the depression to do with the fibro is a feeling of hopelessness for the future. There's no cure for it. Managing it is going so-so. You know, I have good days, I have bad days, I have good weeks and bad weeks, etc. But you know, there's a huge chance that I will decline over the years. But you know, I could stay how I am for a number of years too. Like even decades at this level, which would be great. I'd love it, of course, if I didn't get any worse. I'd love to get better. It is what it is for now until there's any changes in medicine in a big way. This is as good as it's going to get, I think. So, there's different treatments for depression as well. Oh, hold on, before I get into that, I'm just looking at my notes, there are different kinds of depression, as well as just unipolar, bipolar. There's a lot of crossover between other mood disorders, which depression is classed as a mood disorder, and like my mirror is just distracting me. Close the things, I don't know what it's called, a cover. Yeah, depression is a mood disorder, and there's a lot of crossover with anxiety, and a lot of people with, I'm not going to say all, I think I can safely say and accurately say that most people with chronic pain, not just fibromyalgia, MS and lupus, I think comes under it, and others, they either have depression already before they get chronic pain, or they get it after. It's like one of two categories. I think there's probably people who will have, there's people definitely with depression who will not get chronic pain, any type, but you can feel you feel your aches and pains more when you have a low mood. There's a definite correlation between the two. And you can definitely have depression with, yeah, I said that you have depression without chronic pain, you can have chronic pain without depression, but chronic pain without depression I think is in the minority. From all the people that I know personally with it, people I've spoken to or read their stories on different forums where people talk about it, support groups online, both on and off of Facebook, it seems very much to go hand in hand that at least at some point they'll have depression. According to the DSM, the DSM is the Diagnostic and Statistic Manual of Mental Disorders. They also use medical professionals, counsellors, etc. also use something called the ICD, which is the International Classification of Diseases, and they have a chapter on mental health and behavioural disorders. The first one was published in 1952, and then the next one, the ICD, didn't come out till, no, it came out before, in 1948, and as of when this text was written, the DSM-4 came out in 94. So like definitely 13 years later-ish, when I was doing my A-levels, they were using the DSM-4. But I think now, in 2019, I'm sure in the DSM-5. And the ICD number 10 was out in 1992. I think that gets updated more frequently because it's not just mental health. Yeah, so the number, according to the DSM, I assume DSM-4, 80 to 90% of depressed patients have symptoms associated with anxiety disorders, such as poor concentration, sleep disturbance, loss of energy, health worries, panic attacks, etc. And conversely, depressed mood is an associated feature of all anxiety disorders. So there's different anxiety disorders that have different symptoms, different classifications, different medication, but all of them tend to have a feature of depression. Stress is a factor as well. How big of a factor is, yeah, another thing that will be looked into, not by me today, by medical professionals. Also sleep as well. There are two types, as well as this here, two quite distinct forms of depression. Melancholic type, which is unipolar depression, and then the agitated type, which is characterised by difficulty in recovering from emotionally stressful events and obvious signs of anxiety and restlessness. These days there are two go-to forms of treatment for depression: antidepressants and therapy. There are many different types of antidepressants. The ones that I'm on are what's called SSRIs, or selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. I think I remember that correctly. I should have written this bit out. But I was like, yeah, I know that. Just quickly flick. I believe that's correct. And the one I'm on at the moment is called Sertraline. No, venlafaxine. I was on Sertraline before. What was I going to say? I've been on several different antidepressants. I want to say 4, maybe 5. There's some I've stopped, use something different, and then come back to that one, like citalopram. I used that in uni for, I think I was on it for about a year at a high dose. They gave me sleep paralysis. And so I came off that, went on to, I believe, sertraline. I was on that for a number of years. And then I felt it wasn't really working anymore. And then I went back on citalopram to see how I'd cope with it. I think I was still getting sleep paralysis, even on the sertraline. I thought, I'm kind of used to it now, I know what it is, it's not frightening. Sleep paralysis is when you feel paralysed and your brain is like in between sleeping and waking. So like you can open your eyes in varying degrees of fullness. Sometimes I can only like half open my eyes, sometimes that are fully open, but your brain is still in the middle of your sleep cycle, so, or dream cycle. So sometimes you see like dark shadows in the room or something. People who aren't there, or sometimes people feel like a tightness in their chest. Some people, it's been depicted in like old paintings as well, people seeing a demon or like a troll like goblin creature sitting on their chest. So yeah, but I digress. So my type of depression, because I've been on more than 2 antidepressants, it's classed as treatment resistant, which just means it's just harder to treat with medication. I've been on, I've been in therapy on and off for a lot of the 13 years as well. I think I've been out of it for nearly a year at the moment. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you'll know that. I was having psychotherapy. I did it for about 2 years, 2.5 years. And the main reason I stopped is because when we moved house, it's just way like too far away for me to get on the bus with the chronic pain. I think it was going to take me like 2 hours to get there and 2 hours to get back. And even in my mobility scooter, that was not practical. I would just be in so much pain, and then so much pain for days after as well. There's different types of counselling you can have. I'm sorry, I'm a bit fidgety, and you can probably hear the page turning. There's different pros and cons of different therapies. People no longer get locked away just because of depression. It's usually something more serious than that, but I won't go into that as well. That's way too long. And they no longer really, very rarely, especially in the West, so that's America and the UK, they very rarely do lobotomies. That's seen as, you know, inhumane, as like a very permanent solution, but it doesn't just get rid of depression, it just gets rid of you as a person. If you've seen the film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, that's a great example of what happens with a lobotomy. They don't do electroshock therapy that much anymore, because that is seen to have too many negative side effects rather than positive. So at the moment I am looking to get back into counselling. It's been a while. I feel I might benefit for some additional help, but I'm not sure how much help it's going to be, because now it's just to deal with the weight side of things. But I really want to do, like, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it via Skype. So I don't have to travel, and I can sit and be comfortable at home, use whatever pain treatments I need, like an electric heat pad, without having to schlep outside and back. I've done a lot of talking therapy. I find that what I'm most responsive to. I did do CBT, which is cognitive behavioural therapy, where they give you lots of ways to stop just your mind just going over and over situations without it being very helpful. You just sort of obsess about what's wrong without getting over what you need to let go of or work through. And I just did, like, it was 6 weeks, and that was not long enough. This was like years ago, when I still had a long way to go with my counselling and depression, when it was mostly focused on the childhood stuff that I had to work through. There's stuff like dream analysis as well, but that's not really, I don't know how much that's offered in the UK, but I've never been offered it. I talk a little bit about my dreams in counselling if they're particularly disturbing. I used to be more prone to nightmares too, but I rarely have nightmares now, which is great. The camera just cut out, which is a sign I've been talking too long, nearly half an hour. I'm not sure where the camera cut off, but yeah, just trying not to have too much self-hatred for my body. You know, I've gained a lot of weight because of medication, because I'm sick, because I lost hope of my future. It's difficult to hold down a job. I sleep too much with my medication. I sleep roughly, if I don't have an appointment, I sleep for 10 hours. And if I have less than that, I can have like 1 hour less and I'm okay. 2 hours is pushing it, then I'll need energy drinks, plural. I'm not a coffee drinker. But if I have like 6 or 7 hours sleep or less than that, then I'm a zombie and I will fall asleep pretty quickly. I will have like narcolepsy level of I need to sleep right where I am. So it's like impossible to leave the house on those days. At the moment as well, I'm back again in the cycle of staying up till 5 in the morning because I'm just not tired, even with my medication. It doesn't knock me out. I've tried all the different things you could think of. What they tell you is good sleep hygiene is what it's called. It just, none of it helps really. But I didn't know for a long time that my antidepressant was probably what was contributing to keeping me awake. But then some of it is habit. Like if I'm up one night from really bad pain, or I can't sleep because of the pain, then that's it. I'm stuck in that cycle. Whatever time I fall asleep, say 5 in the morning, I'll sleep 5 in the morning until 3 p.m. And then I'm stuck in that cycle for weeks. It's hard to wean it back to a reasonable time. I stopped going on holiday for a number of years because I hated my body too much. I didn't want to celebrate my birthday as well because I wasn't happy I was alive. I have struggled a lot with feelings of wanting to die, wanting to just not wake up, wanting to be hit by a car or something. Have attempted suicide in the past, but like how much it's a cry for help slash wanting to actually die is debatable. I can think of 2 occasions where I definitely just wanted to die, which is very distressing for mostly just myself, because I rarely told anyone what was going on at the time. Most people don't know until it's over, like long over. I found a year ago in the summer, it's about 18 months now, one friend in particular, who will remain nameless, though I don't think she watches these, was so negative and harsh about it that I clammed up, and I haven't told anyone except for Tom when I feel like this. Actually, that's not true. My best friend Kristen, who lives in Australia, hi Kristen, I'll tell her how I'm feeling. I know I can be open with her about it as I'm feeling it. But I don't tell anyone else anymore, except for anyone who watches this now will know. But yeah, Tom's been through a lot helping me. Probably wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. It's funny, I can talk about this now without it being that upsetting. It's just matter of fact for me now. There have been some stages in my life which were very bad. I saw no hope of it getting better. I thought things were definitely only going to get worse. As much as I didn't want to leave Tom, because I do love him, I thought he would be better off if I was dead as well. But it didn't work. I'm still here. I'm better for it. I think I don't feel like that anymore. I haven't for a long time, which is great. Sometimes I feel like, oh, my life is just going to get worse. It's not going to get any better. I've really struggled to stay on the keto diet, even though I've had lots of health benefits. There's a lot of my medication, I think 2 of them make me crave carbs and sugar a lot. Over the last couple of years, I started comfort eating, which I never used to do. I used to be, when I was really stressed, I used to just not eat or have diminished appetite. But yeah, this is the first time for the last couple of months we've been seriously talking about going on holiday, if we can afford to, in the new year sometime. Like in the first 3 months or so, we're hoping to go away, excuse me, for a week or more. And hopefully I'm back on the keto wagon. Halloween makes it a bit difficult as well. Oh yeah, I wanted to say as well, there's a lot of symptoms of depression which cross over with chronic pain. Sleep difficulties and irritability, the brain fog, lack of concentration is a huge problem, which you might remember from my previous video. Keto really does help me with that side of things, but only in a small way. Not enough that, yes, I could definitely hold down a job, a regular 9-to-5 type job. My brain ticks over too slowly. What was I going to say? Yeah, so hopefully I'll stay on the keto wagon this time around. I'm going to try and diet all the way from now until like a month and a half till Christmas, and then I plan to take maybe 2 or 3 days off for Christmas, so Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day. And then hopefully after the day after Boxing Day, be back on my diet. I'm going to try and diet all the way through till we go on holiday. I'll revise then and see, like, you know, if it's something I can carry on holiday or not. It's not too hard to be carb free, I don't think, when you're traveling. Just eat a lot of meat and vegetables, like salads. But I like a couple of cocktails in the sun. And light beer. So, we'll see. But I'm not massively hopeful that I'll lose any more weight. I seem to have plateaued around the 15 stone mark, which is disappointing and difficult. My goal weight in an ideal world would be to be about 11 stone at least, maybe 11 and a half. But right now I think I'd settle for just 2 stone weight loss. I mean 13 stone. Because at my heaviest I was 16.8, which is huge for my 5'3" frame. But we'll see what future brings, and hopefully I'll update you with something positive. I don't know why I'm pulling a face, but I am in a lot of pain. This video has been long enough. It's depressing enough. But if you have any questions or any comments you want to share, please leave them down below. Give this video a like if you like it. I'll try and do another video this week to have a beauty one. Yeah, that's me done. I'm gonna go get a heat pad on my trap because the muscle was killing me. And that's it. So yeah, bye for now.